How's it going, guys? Today I want to talk about something that a lot of traders don't really understand and struggle with, and that is how to add to positions and how to reduce size in positions and when to do it. You see a lot of newer traders that they try to average down their positions. I'm sure you've been there. I've definitely been there. And they try to make back the gains that they've lost in the same exact ticker that they're losing in. And this is one of the most flawed ways of thinking and trading. Yet for humans, it feels so natural because we have this survival instinct. And so when our emotions kick in that red trade that maybe we're a little too big in, um, this can often lead to us averaging down and making the loss even bigger than it should have been. But I'm going to propose that you actually add to winners, and it's important to find the right time to be adding to winners, so you can actually make your winners bigger and your losers smaller, because that's the goal of trading. And often when we're in that emotional state, we do the exact opposite. So hopefully me explaining, I'm going to go through two trades that I'm actually currently in and how I've managed them so I can make the winner bigger than the loser and actually pull out more profits from the market at one time. So the first one we're going to look at here is ARCT. This was posted on my Twitter before it ever had this good up move here, and it's continued to be a really solid play that just continues to have good price action. And for this reason, I have kept adding back into it. So the initial reason I liked the trade is because it had this really nice range here. You can see right at about 72.18. You can see all these hits on it, and so when something has a really defined range like that, it's really good. And it has this low, it gets bought back up, and then it just ranges, right? We have an equilibrium of buyers and sellers. So you get the gist of the setup, and from a daily perspective, it's just, sorry, that's weekly. From a daily perspective, it's a really good chart, right? It's really bullish. It went all the way from about $10 down here, made a range up in 50, 60, went up again, and as it's come down, buyers have swept it right back up, and it's made a great setup. Okay, so I got in on the break of this range here, and then I had my stop under this low. So that's typically how I enter swing trades. And so it came down, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to stay in. I have my base position. And then I see it make this impulsive move the next day. And so what I did was I took some profits into this high. But after it came back down here, this is the key right here, is when it comes down, you're like, okay, you don't know if it's over or not. But after you see this price action come up here, and one important thing to note here is on this day, the market was actually, it was falling a bit. And you saw ARCT, as I was watching the price action on the indices during the day, it was holding up a lot better than the indices. And that's a really important thing to note, especially for swing trades and even for day trades. When is your stock actually outperforming the market? Let's say it's holding above the VWAP. So if it's holding above the VWAP, then that means buyers want to pay the average price of that. But then maybe SPY or QQQ is actually downtrending under the VWAP. Well, that's a really good sign, because it means when the SPY or QQQ start to head back up, the stock that you're in is likely going to be at new highs. And so this is something I began to notice in here, and I began to get back into the position that I sold up here. So I still have my base position from here, and then I'm actually adding back in here. And then you can see it creates another level here, right at 82. And so on this day, which was today, it actually broke above 82. And so this is yet another spot where you can add more size to your position. And then that can be more of a scalp type of position. So maybe you enter here and you get a move up, and you can see over here there's a big gap, and so we have an unfilled gap right there, and then we have one up here. And so maybe as it comes into that first gap here, you take that momentum trade off, and then you're still able to hold a big core position all the way from right here and right here. And so you're taking profits out of this thing while it's working, and you're able to keep size in. And so what a lot of people will do on this is they'll enter here, they'll maybe get scared here and sell one, and then it comes up here, and maybe they even sell early. They sell in here because they want to see green at that point. And this happens over and over and over again. And what we try to train our members is to not get anxious, right? But to actually add to positions and hold these winners. Hold. There's too many people that don't add to winners and that don't hold them long enough. And it's really key to have a good risk reward that you're adding to and holding these trades that are working, especially when, like this, when there's a huge gap to fill, there's not a lot of volume here, and this has a decent short float. So when you have all this volume right here, you can see those blue bars. When that starts breaking up, you have all these shorts in here that are having to cover and buy the stock, and you can already see from a daily chart that the stock is controlled by buyers. And so it's a good stock to go long on. And so this is not a trade that you want to sell early. And so I still have a good core position in this, and I want to continue to look for spots to add. Good price action intraday. Watch a 5-minute chart and look for that holding above the VWAP. A nice consolidation of sorts. Let's look, if we can put a VWAP from this high here, you can see it comes down. Okay, it comes to the VWAP from this breakout area. And then this is where I was looking to add. It gets above, so the sellers are in control, It flattens out here, and then it bases above. So it's telling you buyers are back in control. And you can do this for intraday, day trades as well. Let's say you're looking for a long setup on something. You don't have to just enter right away, but look for something like this over the intraday VWAP. Start adding in some size, and then let's say it breaks that range like this. Then you can, boom, slam on more size. Take that second size off quick and hold the core position, or at least some of it, and trail the stop and see if it can go even further. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. Do you guys have any questions about adding to positions or what to look for? I'd be happy to answer them. Just leave them in the comments. And now let's look at something that didn't go so well for me, or hasn't been. I'm still in it. But Pack B, okay. So this one was something I also entered as a swing. And what I wanted to see is that we could break this high, and there's been a very nice VWAP pinch here from the high, so sellers are in control, and it started to flatten out really nice, and it put in this really good impulsive low. And so I was like, okay, maybe there's a chance here. And if you look back, it's a nice uptrending stock. And so that's what kind of caught my eye here. The 5-day trend was beginning to move back up, and I really liked it. It wasn't quite as clean as the other one, but I really liked it. And so when we made this new high and pulled back, I went ahead and entered, and I wanted my stop. That's the hard thing. The stop on this was a little tricky because there was not really a super good low, so I was going to use all the way down here, which is pretty far away. But I figured, okay, it's getting this breakout. Hopefully it just starts to work right away because my stop's kind of far. But what happened was, okay, it consolidated, that's fine. But then the next day you get this really sharp down move, and that's not really what you want to see, especially if it doesn't recover right away really fast. So that ARC-T trade, it did a similar thing where it came down, but it bounced so fast right away and then just moved sideways. And so this one did not bounce and just kept moving sideways. And what you want to do here is not freak out and start adding too much size to your position that you really can't afford to lose. Let's just say you get out of half or you get out of a third, because the worst that happens is it comes back up and then it starts flagging again, or maybe it builds a range, right? Maybe it builds some sort of a range like this, and it just ranges for a few days. And then all of a sudden it gets up towards the top of it here, and it just builds a nice bull flag intraday over the VWAP, and then you can go ahead and allocate that capital back in. And so once you have that confirmation and you're more comfortable in the trade, you're more confident in it, then you can add that size back in. But if you start adding down here too much, that's too much size that you really can't afford to lose, and then let's say some bad news comes out on it and it's down at a new low, I mean, you're going to be screwed. And so you have to keep that mindset when something's not working for you, and realize that, hey, there's other stuff that I can put my money into that can give me a better return than whatever I'm in. And obviously, as newer traders, they don't really think of how much size they're putting in each trade always. And they don't think to take size out or to add size in. They're very emotional, and all they really care about is it red or green, and how does that make me feel? And so, I challenge you to definitely train yourself to just go back and look at some of your past trades, which ones went really well and which ones went really bad. And look for those signs in here that I've been talking about of where you could have added or where you could have taken size off on a loser. And really try to think about it and then apply it to your future trades. Okay? Hope this helped you guys. I've been posting a hell of a lot on Twitter this week. Tons of setups. We've been talking about this market boom. Go follow the Twitter in the description. I'm posting there all the time with setups, market updates, and you definitely won't regret that. Give me a like and subscribe if you liked it and found it useful, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.